One of the joys of holding this position is you travel the country and other parts of the world representing the institution. And when you introduce yourself, being from Iliff School of Theology, I've had the experience more than once of people saying, "Oh, Larry Graham."
When you know someone for 34 years, you get a pretty good idea of who that person is. And Larry's integrity is a consistent factor throughout my relationship with him. He's touched many students and many in the wider community. He leaves a trail of people who are better because of the relationship with him.
And I've walked the halls and I've intercepted students and had conversation with them. So many of them just have said, Larry Graham is the reason I'm here.
Many times I've been asked, how is it that a rabbi became a student at Iliff School of Theology? When I was in rabbinical school, graduating from there, being ordained in 1970, the one thing that really was lacking, I believe, in our curriculum was pastoral counseling. We had very, very little work. Iliff was known for its pastoral work. And so I decided to apply for a doctoral program here at Iliff, and I was asked to meet with this brand new professor of pastoral care. His name was Larry Graham. And Larry and I met, and we really did hit it off from the beginning. So it happened that this rabbi applied to a Methodist school, was assigned to a non-Methodist professor. I think Larry at the time was Lutheran. And I told him that I wanted to write my doctoral dissertation on the counseling of converts to Judaism. I don't know any place in the country that would allow for that kind of diversity, but Iliff was one, and Larry was absolutely wonderful.
I met Larry Graham on the first day of faculty retreat in 1980. We were 2 of 3 single faculty members at Iliff, and we started seeing each other. June 1984, we married. We had 2 children while we've been at Iliff. Iliff was not only our professional home, but it has also been the site for our family life as well.
Larry was one of the founding members of the Society for Pastoral Theology, and they created many opportunities to hear feminist pastoral theologians like myself present. They also nurtured African American pastoral theologians and really helped us all find a voice in the field and develop our own unique approaches, which has really made this wonderful kaleidoscope of social justice approaches to pastoral theology throughout the country.
Social justice was definitely a part of Dr. Larry Kent Graham. I was really impressed with the way in which he incorporated social justice in all of his writings and all of his practices and all of his lectures.
That first summer with Larry was both exciting and scary, to be honest with you. I had come from Nebraska, where I was a local church pastor, and Larry has high expectations for his doctoral students, so he immediately assigned me 20 books to read with the expectation at the end of the summer I would have a written exam over all that content. And I thought, my goodness, what am I getting myself into? I thought, if 20 books in the first quarter, that means 80 books throughout the year. And it turns out that summer was the easiest quarter of the entire doctoral program. So Larry has a way of inviting you to learn the field and making sure you get that job done.
I serve as bereavement minister at my church. He was very good about helping me identify my strengths and encouraging me to pursue those strengths.
Larry was a great personal friend of mine, as well as an excellent professional colleague. He began to interest me in running, and I had tried maybe a couple of times in the past to run, and it just wasn't fun. But Larry said, hey, don't start out trying to run, but take it slow, and then you'll be surprised at how fast you can increase the distance and increase the speed. And that really is what happened. We would meet on a corner of a street between his house and my house, 6 o'clock, 3 days a week, and run a 4-mile route. And we would never run so fast that we couldn't also engage in a continuing conversation. a very, very significant part of my life.
Larry was really a wonderful classroom teacher because he didn't lecture all that much. He would say things like, "How do you think it feels when?" Or, "What do you think you ought to do in the following situations?" And he really brought the class into the process.
Larry and I co-taught the human sexuality course for many years, and we were total opposites of each other. He's very empathetic, he was much more touchy-feely, he was much more at home, telling personal stories. The students had a lot of fun. One year they all made t-shirts that said, "We had sex with Larry and Sheila." And they wore them everywhere and they gave them to us, but we never took them out of our drawers.
Larry was a very inspiring pastoral theologian, a leader in the field, which really became evident when he published Care of Persons, Care of Worlds, which changed the whole way we look at pastoral theology. He has shaped not only my generation of pastoral theologians, but the generation after me.
For Larry to recognize that individuals' distress or their well-being, he was deeply connected to the social and political reality of which they were part, led him to be very concerned with issues of justice, whether it be the aftermath of a community disaster, whether it's natural, like the floods, or having something to do with human action like Columbine, the rights of LGBT persons.
He, right now, is involved in a very bold project having to do with the impact of war on generations of families. He also approached that study from a multicultural and multi-religious perspective. So he's interviewed people from Vietnam, Bosnia, Germany, the United States, in terms of their interpretations of the kind of war in which they've experienced trauma and how they were coping with those experiences themselves.
Larry has been a very strong advocate with the military to find high-level people who are in the healing process, the chaplains and so forth, and have brought them here to Iliff and built our community.
This all flows from his sense that no human being is a singular human being outside of their community, outside of their broader world. And to give care means that one has to stand for improving the social and political reality that people find themselves in.
Larry wrote a book on pastoral care with gay and lesbian persons and showed his understanding of their situation in light of the political resistances and social resistances that had to be dealt with as a part of healing and energizing the gay and lesbian persons in pastoral care.
I love a lot of things about Larry, but I think mostly it is his innate ability to allow people, whoever they are, to be who they are in his presence. He encourages a person to come out of themselves and to be open and honest. And I think that is a great gift.
And Larry, despite all of his degrees and all of his background, is a man who is humble and vulnerable and allows you to relate with him in a way that draws you closer to him. It's certainly touched my life.
Many of my own congregants over the years, while they never knew Larry Graham, truly benefited because he made me a much, much better counselor.
Dr. Larry Graham is one of the most inspirational persons of my life.
Larry has contributed a great deal to this community and to his discipline. But it is also important to note that Larry flourished because he was at a school, such as Iliff School of Theology, a school committed to greater inclusion, to diversity, to justice.
I'm active as an alumni because of the nature of this school and its willingness and ability to give people an opportunity to grow and develop. And I want to thank both Larry and Iliff for that opportunity.
He has left a tremendous mark here at Iliff.